I'd like to call the East China Townshp Board meeting for September 16th, 2024 to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Supervisor Westrick?
Here.
Clerk Smith here. Treasurer Hart?
Here.
Trustee Babel?
Here.
Trustee Blackstock?
Here.
Trustee Nutt?
Here.
Trustee Richley?
Here.
Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Ralph.
Did I? Oh, sorry about that.
You messed me up after you said that.
All the help we can get.
Must have got my head all screwed up.
Well, at least we got that set for
I'm
the
not gonna do
night.
it too many more times. I got three more meetings.
Agenda. You got the request from the treasurer for new business 10 to be added.
That's what it's gonna be, okay.
New business or old business?
New business. We never had an old business item for it.
Okay. Sure.
I'm sorry, it's new business?
Yes.
New business, Tom.
Discussion for park manager,
Yep.
job description.
Just wanna make sure I got the right one.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I have a point of question. I believe they wanted to possibly move item 7 up to the top of the meeting. The assessor was,
New business 7.
You want
it's not my request, it just would make sense. We've got our assessor here. It was just a
under
suggestion.
that discussion, are you saying?
New business 7, move it to the top of the agenda, perhaps?
To new business 1.
Well, that's because we,
We can do that.
yeah, okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Okay. Thank you.
Who's
Move this
support?
one to number 1,
Okay.
okay. That's
Babel
because we got to get here
supported.
to talk about it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Presentations, guest speakers, none. Public comment? Do you have any? Consent agenda, C1 financial report, C2 treasurer's report.
We forgot the minutes, please.
Oh. How about the minutes? Mr. Richley,
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
is there support?
Support.
Mr. Knotts? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Presentations, guest speakers, we have none. Public comment, we still have nobody. Yeah, consent agenda, C1 financial reports and C2 treasurer's report. Entertained a motion to approve.
So moved.
Is there
Support.
Support by Ms. Hart. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Disbursements, Ms. Hart.
We have disbursements, payroll, $47,240.21. Accounts payable, $118,720.23. EFTs, $66,382.04. E-checks, $302.30. Tax disbursements, $11,224,646.19. And invoices, $319,840.69, for a grand total of $11,777,131.66. I'll make a motion to pay the bills in that amount.
Support.
Moved and supported. Comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Roll call vote. Clerk Smith, yes. Treasurer Hart?
Yes.
Trustee Babel?
Yes.
Trustee Blackstock?
Yes.
Trustee Nutt?
Yes.
Trustee Richley?
Yes.
Supervisor Westrick?
Yes.
Okay.
New business 1, it's actually 7.
7.
Pull that to the top. We are trying to jump through all the hoops here for the special assessment district for the water main project on River Road. We have to amend or repost the hearing date. It will not be next Monday, the 23rd. We had a description, didn't quite fit the legalese, if you will, so we have to repost that. There will not be a public hearing the 23rd next Monday, okay? There's a resolution here that I'll have to read, and it's going to be for October 7th. We're just going to make it at the beginning of our regular meeting. It'll be a longer night possibly, but we're going to get that done then. That gives us plenty of time to get this notice out.
Same time or earlier?
Pardon me?
Same time or earlier?
7 o'clock, then we'll go on from there after our meeting. That's one item. The second item is also, I think it's all part of this, but it's also approving the special assessment roll, which our assessor, I asked him to prepare, so we have to actually get a board action to approve that, and for me to actually tell him to do that, and approving that. And the last item that we need to talk about is the budget and the actual bid that came in. The actual low bid that we had is about $210,720. Now, fortunately, that's in excess of the engineer's estimate by quite a bit. So it was talked about before about possibly contributing some of this money from the township side, which makes sense. Kind of no different than the water main improvement we're doing now for these people's houses. We're paying the bill, you know, but there is a benefit to them as well. And I believe that to make it fair, I think we don't want to exceed the number we talked to them about before, which is the 152, that number there. But if you take a look at the low bid of 210,
720.
720, thank you, Mr. Knotts. That doesn't include the engineering costs, the inspection, contingency and layout and easements and the rest of it. So what that equates to roughly is a $58,000 difference in construction costs from that 152 that we'd have to pick up. And again, there's some things that we're talking about that we could possibly save a little bit of money with the contractor on. We have not had that discussion yet, but this is I'm going for the most it can be anyway, if we stick to the original bid. We have to add 21,000 contingency. The engineering and contract administration was 14.8, as you see on PC's estimate. There's layout, an inspection of 10,300, and then you have easement access. We have their attorney to deal with on that, plus, you know, legal description surveyor, miscellaneous, roughly 2,000 a lot possibly, which is another 12, which gets us over 100,000. And I guess I just want to get everybody's input and approval if we're going to do this, that it could be, we're doing not exceed number right now, 120,000 from our capital improvement fund for this project. It's more than we initially had estimated to us, but if we're going to go forward, that's number one. We have to give board approval to take that kind of money out of the capital improvement fund towards this project, and then special assess the 6 residences, the 152 we originally talked about, which is about $25,000 a year. We talked about spreading that over 10 years and not charging them interest as well, which is something that we'll need to enter in the minutes if that's acceptable to the board like we talked about. So is there any discussion on this to start with? This is number one, because it dies right here if we aren't going to do this. Mr. Knotts?
I just want to clarify what you're talking. I was looking at the construction costs of $116,362 with the bid against 210, and I know there's a bunch more stuff on that you just talked about. But I think our piece has all of a sudden got a little bit higher. The 152 included some other costs. The bid construction cost is 116. The bid estimate, engineer's estimate. The bid came in at 210, so we got all the other stuff. Engineers and other things you were mentioning are going to have to be over and above that 210. And so I'm wondering, is that about $120,000 more than that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
about 104 if you add up the numbers on our estimates.
104?
Right, but I got to have enough wiggle room there in case the attorney's more or the easement acquisition is more.
I would say you're talking.
Not to exceed 120 is the number I'm going to give you right now.
If you said if we're going to have an additional 120 over the low bid.
Over the 152. We're going to 152 from them, and the township's portion will be 120,000. Not to exceed 120.
The people knew that was the original idea that we could get. So they get 152 from them, not 116. I just thought you were off by about 50 grand, but I'll shut up. Okay.
Yeah, we originally presented the 152 number, roughly 25,000 a household. So
Okay.
if we stick with that number and don't exceed that with them, and we pick up the difference, we are $100,000 to $120,000, somewhere in there. I don't have the exact number yet.
Yeah,
but we
that
will.
would be, okay, I agree with that, about $120,000 to $130,000
So-
more than 152, because that would be the
So
contingencies.
that's
on
number
top of
one
that.
on the list here. If we decide that we want to do this and go forward, we have to agree that we're gonna be expending up to $120,000 from our capital improvement fund.
Okay, so can you just give me a brief summary of exactly what's about to happen when we do this? They're gonna abandon the original lines. There's 6 houses or 5?
You're talking about the work itself, Sandy?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a, I believe it's a 2-inch line that's shared
Okay, the 2-inch line shared,
across 6 houses,
right,
6 residences.
okay.
And they're gonna put a new 8-inch
Main.
water main in down the roadway that they all share, and then across the front of their houses, beyond the street side, if you will. There's gonna be a new easement created there, and then we're also gonna bore new services from that water main into their residence and abandon the old services. The reason that it's cheaper to do that, since we don't really know where their services are tied into the old line, but also many of them are under driveways, that we'd have to tear out driveways to redo and everything else. It's cheaper just to give the board new service from our new main and abandon the old in place.
So is the
So we
new
don't have to
main,
tear their driveways up. The new ones are all located in green belts. So
and it's gonna be located on their property?
it's their property, we have an easement,
The main.
permanent easement, and we maintain that.
Okay, and then how's that main gonna connect into the new main that we're just?
It's not, it's gonna connect to the old, not the old, but the other ductile iron 12-inch main that's in front of the place now. It's on that side of the road, it's on the east side of M29. It's gonna be a 12/8 tapping sleeve valve and well that will go there, and how technical you want me to get, but 8-inch
Okay.
HDP bored pipe, we're gonna bore, directional bore it so we can eliminate driveways and a lot of that stuff for restoration.
Okay, so.
And the only restoration will be grass
We
and
would
stuff
have
like
to
that.
come
We don't wanna get into
residents would
driveways
pay
and all
the
this other stuff.
So up on M29, let's say from Edison all the way to the hospital, didn't we have to switch and
Residents
jump the
agreed to
road
pay
and
152.
to the line on that side of the road?
Yeah, but that line is being treated more as a transmission line to the tower. All the services and drinking water is coming off of the ductile iron main that's there. The other line that's next to the ductile iron is one abandoned.
Anyway.
There's actually 3 lines up there now with the new one.
So
One's
all
replacing the other.
all those houses along there had to tap in bore under the road and tap into the new line? Or,
They all went into the ductile iron that's on the east side of the road already, and it's already been done.
You see what they put in here is
I
what they
just
thought
want
it
to
would cost.
understand.
Yeah. The new line being a transmission line, it's sending water from the plant to the tower mainly. That's what it's gonna be for. It's gonna replace the old one. So
Okay.
all water services for residences, business, whatever, comes off the 12-inch ductile iron line. The new 12-inch plastic HDPE line that's been bored in, it's gonna be transmission from water plant to feed the north tower.
Which makes this a little lower, but it's still.
Okay,
70
so
it's
the
still
benefit to the
170
township by us contributing to these 6
Give or take
houses
10.
is what? Like,
Are complying with our ordinance, keeping people on sanitary services that it's safe water. He's got problems with serviceability and quality issues right now with it, so. Our ordinance asks that we have them all on individual service lines, not a shared line.
Right, because right now.
And there's no way to
there's
accomplish
something wrong
that
with
because
one,
of
they
the
all
property
don't
that's in
have
front of
one.
them is owned by the gas company. And they have all their huge transmission lines up there. So we have to bring a main down in front of them.
Vern,
Yes, Mr. Knotts?
since the price is much higher, of course, than we had originally estimated, the residents need to be aware of that too. You know, they may need to have to pick at least a portion of this, and that may mean we would stretch out the payments or something to that net. I don't think we have to, I'm just saying that an option would be, I'm not sure we have to cough up the whole $178,000.
That's strictly up to the board. If you don't want to do that, the conversation stops right there.
Yeah, well, it depends on what are the alternatives?
You can ask them to pay more.
Yeah.
I don't know how that conversation will go. I can guess how it will go.
Well, the alternative, is the alternative turn off the water?
I
You can't leave those lines
Can't do
down
that.
there. You know, I doubt that too.
You can't do that.
So
Do we know which portion, what dollar amount is for each one of these 5 or 6 individual taps?
The dollar amount
If
that
you
each
break
one's
it out
gonna
of
be
the
assessed,
total, if you break it out of the total, you're saying you're gonna run a water line from the 8-inch that we're putting in to their house.
Mm-hmm.
And we're doing that because,
it's easier than trying to find the other lines in driveways and attaching them to the new main. You would spend more on concrete replacement than you are just for directional dooring, the 1-inch service to their house.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, this is just I'm just trying to see this logically, because if someone were building a new house
they'd have to pay for those.
on that road, they would have to run that line, pay a company to run the line from the house all the way to the water line, tap in, because it's their line.
They can't get to the water line right now. We would not allow them to build those houses under the the way the current building codes are right now. They don't have frontage to do that. It would have to be it'd have to be a new road installed and to cook
Well, that
public
goes-
road standards and then water main.
But that goes to my
installed.
question is, I'm fine with running an 8-inch line.
Mm-hmm.
But the portion of that 200 and whatever $1,000 that is going to cost from 8-inch line to house, which Sandy has said,
Mm-hmm.
if I wasn't in this situation and I built a house on M29, that's my cost,
Mm-hmm.
from my house to that line.
Well, to
So
answer
my
your
question
for that,
is what, you know, is
the-
that cost?
$37,200 for 6 services at $6,200 apiece. Is that the number you're looking for, Herb? The water
Yeah,
service.
that's what their quote is. So that's to run 6 new services.
1-inch main to inside home.
Number 9, line item 9 on the bid tab. And it's the first one is the low bid. So there's 6 services at $6,200 each. So the cost of the line from the main to their home is $6,200. That answer your question?
It does. But I'm still wondering if, my question going to Sandy's, I'm assuming, is why are we covering that cost?
It's in lieu of replacing concrete driveways to reconnect the lines that they have already.
But again, if it was my house and I had access to M29, I'm paying for it in my pocket.
Well, we have to, when we put the new main in, we have to hook up the services that are there, or if we could do it that way too, but we're gonna spend more than $6,000 a house by replacing every service is in the middle of their driveway, halfway down the driveway. So to get hooked up to that, I gotta find it first, but it doesn't,
I can feel the pain that you're talking about, but still, it's a homeowner. The township didn't create this situation.
well, they're paying $25,000 a house right now is what we're talking about for doing for them. That's their portion of this special assessment. So that 6,200 is in there somewhere, plus some money for the main, if you want to look at it that way.
I guess my concern is that if we spend township funds, we're spending township funds on private
Residents.
lines, property.
It's our main. It's a dead-end line, too. We'll have to flush it. This has been going on, what, a year? We've been talking about this?
So the only thing are we
This
only
came-
paying for the main? The township, what you're proposing in your 152,000, are you saying that's for the main, for like the township's portion of the main?
The $210,000 bid is for everything.
I see what you're getting.
That's the construction cost. But we have engineering costs, which we've already
Let's see,
incurred,
really went for the main.
and the rest of those items to complete the project.
The water ma- it's,
You know, the 14,800, we've already spent that money for engineering because the job has been designed. Now, to do that work, we have contingency of 21,000, it's 10% of the construction cost. That could be 0, we don't really know, but we have to figure it out. Again, and you got the layout, inspection fees, they gotta watch it be done, that's 10,300. It's right on this list on PC. Those numbers are in addition to the construction costs.
Vern, to answer Sandy's question, the numbers come out about the same. The way they're talking about it now is we are saying we're going to pick up the cost of the homeowners tapping into the line. But if you look at the construction bill, just the cost for the 8-inch line and the water and the hydrants and maybe something else in here that I don't see is $116,000.
$116,000.
116 is the cost of the line and the hydrant.
It's not. That's the engineer's cost. You gotta look on the page. of
I'm
the
looking
bid.
under bid tabulation, water main, Hope drill, 8-inch directional drill, hydrant assembly. Those two numbers alone are $116,000. 91,
That's for the 8-inch line?
91,800 for the 8-inch line and 15 grand for the hydrant assembly, and I'm sure there's probably a couple of others in there.
Well, you need a tapping sleeve valve and well, that's $18,000 alone, just to tap the main. All of those
Okay,
other items.
what I'm saying is, although it sounds like we're paying for, the amount of money that you think that we may have to come up with, if you add up the things that are associated only with the 8-inch line, is
Okay.
about the number you're talking about.
Okay, okay.
It is, I realize that's not what we're arguing about, but
Okay.
how much money are we kicking in? Well, if you look at what's associated with just the 8-inch line, it's about 120 grand, maybe a little more than that. And it's just what you peel.
Okay, that's fine.
If you look down the engineer thing where they talk about the bid tabulations.
How you justify it is fine with me, Ralph.
That's what I'm saying. You're saying that's how much you need. What is?
To do the project, we're gonna be
what in
spending
fact is the town-
$270,000.
What is the township paying for? They're paying for the cost
Of the water main
associated
installation.
with the 8-inch line and the hydrant and the associated things. The numbers come out about the same, however you want to look at it.
Right.
But that is, you can look at it that way. Also, you can look at it Sandy's way, and it's not our problem, but they still got to do it. I also kind of wonder, you say it's not the township's problem. I'm wondering how they got permission to put it in the first place. I know we weren't on the
Many
board,
years
but they
ago,
probably
yep.
did.
We have lots of that stuff, it seems like.
So the township was somewhat involved in the original installation in some way or other. I don't know, have we ever looked up the property thing, see if there's any kind of permits, but those places are so old.
They're
I don't
not
think you're
buildable
gonna
lots
find
according to
them.
our current zoning.
No,
Anyway, I'll shut up.
it's not even a road. It's a drive.
Thank you, Ralph, for that.
Yeah, I thought, that's the way I thought we was gonna do it in the first place, to tell you the truth, but then we paved the line, they paved it up down. But if we take.
What other discussion?
That's what we're actually doing.
So it's actually gonna be more than 120,000, because you said plus you're not charging interest, and as you know, interest is pretty high.
If you want to factor that cost of
It's gonna be
whatever
about
that could be
number.
in, yes.
You take 10.
Yeah, yeah.
That's, I just
That's
did the
saying
quick
quite a
math.
bit more.
I just did the quick math.
Why would we not charge interest?
I wouldn't charge him. I don't think we should charge interest.
If we
Yeah,
have to
it's
get
one
a
of the things
loan
that was
to do it-
discussed back then,
We're
that's
not
all,
gonna,
that's
we
all I'm
don't have to
saying.
get a loan to do it.
Yeah, we're taking it from capital, so we don't need the
The
loan.
whole.
But
the
we're
whole
but we're
amount is
foregoing
come out of
possibly
capital?
2-3% in interest on the money. That's something that's was discussed before, so that's another item that is up for discussion. I just want to make you all aware of it.
I feel
And I
like
also
it's a
want to make you aware
special-
that this is not my project. This is something that was brought to us
Right.
from, it's our ordinance,
But we want to do it fairly for everyone,
Yes, we do.
all the taxpayers. Because we're all paying the money.
Yeah. The benefit fee is, I don't even know, $1,700 if a new house is built or something, ties into our new water main system, so you get in pretty cheap benefit fees, if you on the house, but
You know, we talked to the residents based on engineering estimate. Well, now the real numbers have come in. We probably need to revisit the residents to some
Right.
degree.
Public hearing and present the information to them, because
Yeah.
they're gonna be the ones in the end.
Yeah, and like I said,
I mean-
I still agree with you, the
Yeah.
township should pick up a good portion of this. But now that we know what the real numbers are, I see nothing wrong with addressing the residents, saying, okay, engineering estimate was low.
Here we
It
are.
might- It might cost you another 10 grand over 10 years, I don't know.
Right.
well, right now it's 20,000 a person, 20,000 residents more. If they pick up the whole portion of everything, it would be a $45,000 special assessment
Per resident,
per resident
with these costs,
with everything.
based on this.
Yeah, the numbers are here again. You
Well, I'm
take-
not saying they have to.
Take the
pick it up
210
all,
plus the
but it
contingency,
should-
those all
pick
numbers
up
add
a
up to
piece.
268.
We're gonna pick up a piece of the extra, the residents pick up a piece of the extra. Sure to will.
What happen, for argument's sake, what happens if they say, nope, not gonna do it now? What do we do then?
They'd have to
Jamie?
pay if something happened.
At that point,
To
if
one of their
up to
lines.
20% of the people don't want to do it,
Yeah,
that's a whole new ballgame. They've agreed to the 25
Right.
technically right now with the first go-around that we've had. So if we change the number, it's a whole different ballgame.
Right.
for us too.
Considerably more.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, again, we're,
And we could
I
offer
don't
it
even
for
want to
a
get into
longer
this, but we
period
had
of
a quote
time.
from another firm for this, and ironically, guess what their number was?
Close to the same thing.
Close to the number that it came in at.
You can do it by condemnation when nobody wants to.
I don't want to say any more about it. You understand?
Well,
what
I
I'm
don't
saying?
want to lock in, for the residents' sake, because the costs are so much more, when we go ahead and propose this, I would like to see us offer it for a longer period of time to make it more affordable to residents.
yeah.
I mean, that's gonna be like, that's a big slap in the face, $45,000
Yes, it is.
to fix something that they've been using for years and now it needs to be addressed, but,
And they probably didn't
I
even
know
know
a lot
when
of
they
them
bought
go
it.
like
right,
20
I mean,
years.
this came out of,
Some of the people were, at the end of the line, they're more excited about it because of the pressure that they don't have and stuff like that.
Right.
You know, reliability thing is a part of it, but
People can take a
if
shower.
the line breaks, 6 houses are out until they get someone to fix it. It's their line.
right,
Right,
But I think more, the people at the end of the line were talking more to us about, yeah, we have terrible pressure. So for some of it's more of a benefit for them than others. So again, I'm staying out of this. This is up to the board. And I really don't have a say so either way of this, to be honest right now. It's just, is it fair to us to take $120,000 out of our capital improvement fund to the rest of our taxpayers? I hate to say it like that, but is it?
right.
is
That's
that's
the way
my
I kind
question.
of feel, yeah.
Is that, are we doing the right thing?
You know,
But we do that,
we do have an ordinance that says they have to have their own service, so.
We do that, though, when we extend a water line regardless. We extend a public water line, we take it out of the same budget.
Right.
Whether it services my house or your house, anybody's house, it's irrelevant.
Right. Well, when we renew these mains, we're paying for that. out of
I
our
understand
taxes.
it, and I can understand us extending our infrastructure. To me, it stops at the property line. If the math is right, like Ralph says, and it's 120 grand roughly to extend an 8-inch water line that
Main.
we still maintain ownership of and control of, and if
Right.
there's ever a possibility to extend it or loop it or do something to improve pressure, I don't know. I don't know if the engineers looked at that.
It's not, because it turns and goes north and it stops right where all those launcher receiver stations are for
So
the,
there's no opportunity to loop it back to the
you could,
29?
if you got it. If you got probably permission and easement from the gas company, which
Okay.
Enbridge,
I mean, we,
So it's
like I
a
said, we
dead
do
end.
that for the infrastructure. It's a public infrastructure, whether it's going to my house or anybody's house.
Part of the system.
So I can kind of understand that. It's the fact that I thought, judging by the original estimate, we were just gonna finance this. We weren't paying so much out of pocket as a township.
That's what I thought.
So if there was, it'd be easier to swallow for me if there was potential for extending it further or some other benefit to the township as a whole, not just servicing 6 houses. But it's still infrastructure. We're still putting in a water line, just like we put out here, just like we put down Urban Drive, just like we do everywhere else.
Right,
This is just a shock that it's
right.
$120,000 that's not being
Right,
shared more with those 6 individuals.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I think it should be done for the benefit of them, but I agree, I think there might need to be a little bit of discussion, whether we extend it for a longer period, or we, come up with some other alternative, at least make them aware.
Well, if you want to come to some alternative and decide exactly how much that's going to be us and how much of that is going to be them, we can change the assessment roll, we can present that at the public hearing, and see if they go for it. And we can change the terms for longer terms, tell me what we want to do, and that'll be part of the public hearing.
The other question I have is, what's this do to our budget? Our cap, what is this,
Right.
is this an issue of taking an extra $120,000 out of our?
We have the money in there to do it right now. It won't impact anything. We have a lot of unmarked, or you know
Would
the
it
word I'm
be
looking.
now or next year?
You're looking at the thing, it'll be this fall. The bid was good for 90 days. Unallocated, that's the number I'm looking for, Herb. We have a number of unallocated funds, which we'd take that from.
And we hope we don't have another
We have. enough in there.
$120,000 problem.
Yeah, well, we got more
Like a
than that in
water
there.
sewer plant?
So if you want to give me the parameters, and then we can set the public hearing, we can do it that way. And it can be, we pay nothing. It's strictly up to you, but
Well, if you want a proposal, I would propose that the township, because of the cost of the thing, if you go with this contractor, that we would pick up the costs, number 6, 7, and 8. It's 18, 91, and 15.
pretty close to the 120.
And
It's 123.
the residents are going to have to split the rest of it. They can do it on the same basis, or if you have to extend it or whatever, but whatever that number comes out to be.
Well, that's 126,000, so that's pretty close to what I was just saying.
I think it's gonna be a little bit more than that, but we may have to do. You never know what's gonna happen, but that would be a way, other than.
Well, I have enough in there. It's not gonna exceed 120, but still.
And then you're gonna have to redo the numbers when you presented it to this public hearing and saying, this is because this is what it would cost, this is how much you're gonna split, and it may not be exactly 20,000 anymore, but it'll be pretty close.
So you're saying those 3 items at 124.8, or do you want to
The
round it?
township would volunteer.
126, I think.
Township volunteered to cover the cost of items 6, 7, and 8.
Okay,
And that all has to do with that 8-inch line. That's the reason I picked them.
okay.
That's just a
124,000?
proposal. That's just a proposal.
The
Somebody
8-inch
else may have a
lines
better
and
idea.
associated costs, and the hydrant, right? Line, hydrant, and associated costs.
Well, we're not gonna, the way we approach it is we won't exceed $124,000 of township funds. It's,
Not
But
to
how are you
exceed
gonna do that if-
124,000?
the project goes over and then you've already told these people it's gonna be this much and then the project goes over.
we'll have that number nailed down before we get started on construction. We have to get the cost for the easements in and whatnot. We talked about saving some money possibly by doing our own inspection. There's ways of saving money on this. This is if we go with the whole thing. But it's not to say they might not bore into the side of a unknown
Gas line?
huge detention basin that's, who knows? Okay, this is my best guess,
Old
okay?
abandoned 30-inch gas
If
line?
we don't
maybe?
run into
Yeah.
anything
Yeah, right.
major that's unforeseen, this is where it should be, but
Okay, so it's estimated that the resident's cost would be 45,000 each.
if they pay
Estimated.
everything.
I'm just trying to get this in the minutes.
Oh.
So I had the township's gonna cover items 6, 7, and 8.
We can't
For
do it that
8-inch
way, you
line and
guys.
associated
You don't
costs.
cover 6, 7, and 8. You just tell me
No.
how much
You
money
gotta-
you want to take
have a
from the
number.
capital improvement
I'm
fund.
just saying what it would be.
What do you
That would, add those together.
Ralph's
See-
number was 124. I'm saying if you get, if we say we won't exceed $120,000 of township portion,
Okay,
we'll be fine
okay, not to exceed 120,000.
from our capital fund, capital improvement fund.
The argument is that because the bids came in, the township has reconsidered and now will contribute to the project $120,000. The balance of the cost of the project has to be divided amongst the residents who are benefiting from it.
Correct.
Now, we know how the numbers came up to be 120 by looking at the 8-inch line, but that doesn't need to be said.
So as part of the, like, public hearing notice and all that, those costs will have to be in there.
Yes.
Yep.
Will you,
They'll know the,
So I need
they'll know the,
specific.
they'll know the
Yeah.
exact cost. This will be, I have to read this next. So this will become part of the minutes. Correct?
Mr. Chairman, let me just kind of back up a little bit.
You'll want to get into the,
Jamie, can you go to the podium?
Yeah, sorry.
This is our
Jamie.
township assessor, Jamie. I'm sure everyone knows.
We've been working on this and this is not a fun thing to do.
No.
In coming into this project, I understood that it was initiated by petitions. We had 4 people out of the 6 people that were there that applied. In going back and looking at the law under Public Act 188, it requires that we use land area as a basis. So sufficiency, we actually fell short as a petition by the public to create it. So sufficiency is not the basis, you don't have 50%. But it was an action that the board, in the conversation of correcting this and going forward, as a charter township, you certainly can go forward on anything. And that's what I'm looking now, you're doing this directive as the board and not by petition. Now, you certainly can, at this point, with the new information, reintroduce a petition. I would advise that if we do this with the district should be expanded to include parcel number, and I'm going to read this out so you can add this for the minutes, parcel number 74-18-756-005, I'm sorry, 0005-000. That is the easement, the L-shaped parcel that they all share over on which is going to be a part of that district. And it has an ownership interest in that 4 of the parcels have a 1/8 ownership interest, and 2 of the parcel owners have a 1/4 interest. It goes back to weighting, that if you do this through a petition, the weighting in terms of the signatures can be varied. I just want to, it does need to be a part of the district because it's part of where the improvements are going to be. I would very simply put a description of the district as a whole. We're dealing with Lot 2. It's a platted lot, and it encompasses all of Lot 2 that's been split into 6 pieces. So it's a very simple description, and I can expand on the details of the legal description. It's part of the Supervisor's Clark Hughes plat, Lot 2.
This will be what you just your notes for the minutes.
And then if you recirculate that as a petition to initiate the conversation, you'll have those costs on the petition. That's part of what we didn't have originally when we had a petition that people signed, which was good because it told you as a board that they were interested in it, and it got this going. So the discussion is there because they said, yes, we're interested, but it didn't give any details. It didn't give any costs, and it would be unfair to say that they want it. It'd be like signing a blank check. So part of the petition process and going forward, I think with all of our special assessments, where we can, we should include that cost so people know what they're signing for and agreeing. And again, we'll have the engineering estimate or a total estimate, a breakdown, where we'll anticipate what the costs are going to be in your motion and your language. If you're gonna be specific to what you're going to call the benefit cost per household, that'll be very specific, that won't change. So later, the cost that the township incurs isn't going to be spread back against the whole district. You're working with them and paying the difference in that cost over and above. So you want to make sure that the language of your motion, when we approve this at a final meeting, is that as we reconcile that account with what our actual costs come out to be, it's on the township side. It's not on the benefit side. That won't change after that meeting.
I know, I'd like to have.
And at that point, if you did it through a petition, you could review and say, hey, what's our sufficiency look like now? Now that we've got the costs out there, everybody's looking at it, maybe you might get another signature on it, it might give you a sense of confidence. It doesn't stop you as a board from going forward and doing this anyways. You can do that, but sufficiency is usually a part when you have a petition, and it's just one more tool that you have to look at in how you're serving your public.
And Jamie, don't typically the costs get divided by the parcels based on size, frontage?
Yeah,
Or
if
can you
look at
do
how
it
we did it,
equally?
It's pretty simple for me. I've got 6 houses,
Right.
and those 6 houses have water. Does the 3,200 square foot house use more water than the 2,400 square foot house? Does the real estate market recognize the difference between one or the other because they both have water? No, the problem is when you don't have water, or you don't have sufficient water. So I'm very confident in looking at what I've looked at so far, that the costs and what this board has suggested doing is going to be to the benefit of the public, is going to be something that I can defend if it's appealed. Because without that, those houses lose value. So the investment, as you've been talking about, back into the community from a township share, it benefits us also that it maintains the value of those houses and the property taxes, and we all work together. We're all part of the same team, with taxpayers as well as government.
So each person's assessment would not be the same? They would not be equal?
They would be equal.
They would be.
I would assess them as equal benefits.
Okay.
I wouldn't differentiate between frontage, having an extra 10 feet or 20 feet or 50 feet. If you have water, you have water.
Okay.
If you don't have water, you don't.
How do you handle that easement, the property that you just read off, where it's owned by 3 or 4 different people?
It's a great question. It's indivisible. They have an indivisible interest of 1/8, 1/8, 1/8, 1/8, 1/4, 1/4. So between the 6 of them, they own the property, and it's indivisible. They don't own one section of it. They all share it in their ownership. And as far as I'm concerned, it's a necessary component to get water to the other 6. So the 6 building sites that we have there, they need each other to get in and out of the property, to get the easements for utilities and water. I think that's equally shared. So there's not going to be an assessment on the ingress and egress, the easement. It's not even an easement, it's actually defined as a specific property.
Part of the description?
Yeah.
Pardon me?
It's part of the description?
That's why I gave you the parcel number to add to the roll. We'll show that as 0 benefits, because they all share in it. And
All be
then
covered by their
using the
each one of
percentage
them.
of their
Each one.
ownership interest, that'll show the weighted interest as we talk about sufficiency, if you want to go down that road. So, I appreciate you letting me.
Thank you.
Good
Thank you,
idea.
Jamie. So, based on that, if everyone agrees with what Ralph was saying, then I would need a motion that East China Township is going to be responsible for the cost in excess of $152,026, not to exceed $120,000. In other words, 152, the original number that we've given is how we prepared the special assessment roll. 152,026, see that number that we had from the engineer's estimate way back when? The number that we supplied, that's how we divided it, from how our assessors divided it equally among 6. So the 152,026 will be special assessed, and everything in excess of that, up to 120,000, will be the township's responsibility. That's the way the motion would read, just so we are clear that you know that we're gonna pick up to $120,000.
Not to exceed 120.
Correct. It's the same thing Ralph said, but
Right.
that's the way it needs
So
to be
their
worded.
costs would go up if there's any excess costs after this.
That's the way this is gonna read, if it's over 120,000.
I don't think it,
And we're also spending more than 120 because of the interest on,
We're foregoing interest on it.
if
Can
that's.
I ask a dumb question?
Pardon me?
Can I ask a dumb question?
No, there's no dumb questions. Go ahead.
So what Jamie said about the potentially going out for another petition, we're not doing that with this motion, or?
No, no.
Okay, okay,
No,
okay,
no, there's no need for that.
okay.
I want to do the math, go through the math again. You take 152,000 and you add 120 to that, that's 272,000 roughly. The bid right now is 210.
Hey, Ralph, take a
So
look
that's
at
60,000, so is $60,000 sufficient to cover all those other little things you were mentioning?
it. Take a look at the math right there.
Okay. That's close enough. I didn't know, I just didn't know, I just know if we were way over 60.
It took me a
Okay.
minute to get this too, so
Right.
I get it.
All right.
Okay, so Ralph made a motion.
Well, Ralph didn't make a motion yet, I don't think, but the motion would be that the township is gonna be responsible for the costs in excess of 152,026, not to exceed $120,000 from our capital improvement fund. Is that the motion you made, Ralph?
Sounds like the right one I made, yeah.
Yeah,
That
okay.
way I won't be here and you guys can fight over it.
Is there support to that? Mr. Blackstock supports that. Clerk, please call the roll.
Roll call vote. Smith, yes. Treasurer Hart?
No.
Trustee Babel?
Yes.
Trustee Blackstock?
Yes.
Trustee Natz?
Yes.
Trustee Richley?
Yes.
Supervisor Wester?
Yes. Okay, we're not done. Now, I need a motion to receive and file the special assessment roll with the clerk's office and to make it available for public inspection. And I made that a motion just to make it really easy for you. It's all right here, and I'll give it to you after the meeting. I make a motion that we receive and file the special assessment roll that Mr.
That's not been created yet.
Yeah, it has.
Mr. Supervisor?
Yep.
Sorry to interrupt you. You might want to, as amended per discussion,
Mm-hmm.
if you were to say that, that the motion would be that you would direct the assessing department to create an amended assessment roll based on the discussion in this meeting today to be presented to the township clerk for the review.
File with their office.
And then you're going to set a public hearing date after that. But that'll direct me to take into account what Sandy puts together in this meeting and tells me these are the
The
things.
number that you'll have will still be the same.
God, love
Well, the
lawyers.
numbers, but in this, we're gonna add an additional parcel that's gonna have zero value. We're going to also have the township share, and it's gonna be out there that the public will see it, and I think even the people will also know, so before.
Yeah, that's what my motion said, that right there.
And
I can't
you'll,
hear him.
we're gonna try to get some numbers compiled that are engineering and legal and recording, and so that we have a number that,
Yeah, all right, so I'll make a motion that we direct our assessor to
Make an amended assessment
make
roll.
an assessment roll and turn it over to the clerk's office so she can make it available for public inspection. How's that?
Okay.
Is there support?
Support.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now, you want me to read this, don't you?
So as previous, you don't have to read everything, you can read it into the minutes, it's up to you, your choice.
All right. Well, I'll read this portion that we're going to set the public hearing.
So that, you have the entire 4 pages?
Yes.
Okay.
This is the resolution 14-2024 for Charter Township, East China. Resolution regarding a special assessment district and assessment roll. The 6 properties are 4049, 4045, 4037, 4033, 4029, and 4021 River Road.
We don't have this document.
No, you don't. This is just a resolution for the setting the public hearing.
He's just setting the public hearing for this.
The Board of Trustees is going to conduct a public hearing on October 7th, 2024,
Does this thing.
at the Township Hall at 7 p.m.
Then we can have a
to meet,
hearing.
review, and hear objections to the special assessment roll.
BOL.
This resolution is on file if anyone wants to actually read it, but setting a you can use that in your minutes, though.
Gonna hang on my notes for these
Well,
3
yes, I'll be
minutes.
incorporating it into the minutes.
Somehow.
Okay.
Little boy.
So, just a quick question for Jamie. This has the addresses and parcel IDs on here. I should include both for the minutes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Based on the tentative role that I was giving you, use those addresses and parcel numbers,
Plus this 0005, right?
plus the 0005.
And the 0005?
Here's your entire packet. This is,
That's what I have.
yeah, so you just insert that into the minutes. Hold on.
Put this into the minutes.
Okay.
You have that.
Reverse.
Okay. So we need to adopt that resolution.
You made that a motion
Yep. To support,
to set the public hearing for October 7th
Right.
at 7 PM.
right.
I'll support.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Also make another motion that we cancel the public hearing that was originally scheduled for September 23rd.
So moved.
Is there support?
Support.
Mr. Richley? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Are we good? Did we do enough?
Okay.
Did we do what we had to do? That's all I care about. I want to take an hour.
I'm glad somebody around here knows what to do.
All right, at this time, we'll take a nice, long recess until next week. Nice.
You got any more easy ones tonight?
I don't think any of these are easy, Russ. Okay, well, that's number 1. Thank you, Jamie. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thanks, Jamie.
All right. New business 2, which is actually 1. We'll just take these in order then. Cemetery appeal. So the Sexton's decision. This one. I don't even know what
Do
I
we
got.
know whereabouts in the cemetery this particular
I do not.
monument was? I just drove through there today and was looking at it, and there's, in the new section of the cemetery, there's some very nice master stones that are 4 feet high. And in the older portion, there are some ones that are probably 6 or 7 feet high. So, you know, if he was, his grave site was located in the older section, he'd fit right in. In the new section, I ain't so sure.
I think this is in the older section, block 278.
Yeah, I
Because
thought
the
we had a
hundreds
picture or
and the
something.
200s.
The current ordinance
Picture
reads
of the thing,
48,
you
and they
don't
want a
have to
variance
wear
of
it.
60
I know.
inches. Are you here for that by chance? No?
I couldn't find
Okay.
keys, and I kind of looked around for them.
Yeah,
My concern is if they make that higher like that, do they have to make the base
bigger.
wider, bigger, so it's not like.
Well, it says on there how
top-heavy?
big he wants. It's
No,
pretty good
they won't
size.
have to do anything with the base. The base would still be fine.
Well,
So is it just the height that's
the
not
height is
in
the only thing they're
ordinance?
asking about, yeah.
Or the width as well?
Blaine didn't say anything about the base.
Yeah, I think it's
Picture
just
says
the
here the base is 72 by 16 by 6.
height.
6
It does
feet
say that
wide.
he could go down to 55 inches, which would be maybe a little better.
So this is a headstone
Yeah.
Yes.
that's open? There's openings in the headstone. I'm looking at the picture. I'm just trying
Yeah.
to make sure I'm looking at
It's
this right.
it's what they call a family monument, and it's put in a group of graves where there are a lot of members that have the same name, and they will all each have individual headstones when they get buried. But this is sort of, marks the family plot.
Okay.
That's the idea.
I
But
see.
it's open in the middle, according to this. It's not solid.
That's where you put the flowers.
Gotcha.
Look like it, does it?
I don't know. It's not solid, no, it's pillars and something.
And our
I've seen
maximum
ones
height
like this
is
before.
what?
Currently 48.
48. But that could go down to 55?
That's, I thought I read
That's what
that
it
in here,
says.
yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. It didn't exactly say that. It just kind of mentioned in one of the emails that how, the guy wrote back, said, well, how about 55, I think he said. 7 inches short, that's only 7 inches over 48, you know, that makes a lot more sense.
But I don't see that.
But
in
again,
here.
I was wondering where it is. If it's in the old, if it's in the new section, it's gonna stand out a little bit. It's in the old section, it fit right in.
Well, it says where the block number is. I have no idea where that's at. Block 278, lot 4, grades 1
We
through
used
3.
to have a big old torn up map I had for years. I don't know where that is. or
So
where
did they
it is.
have a cemetery advisory committee?
Yes, we do.
I
Yeah.
mean,
But
and
to
they-
clarify, they wouldn't.
They already turned it down, or?
They don't have that authority.
They don't have the authority to do that.
We're just an advisory.
Yeah.
Okay,
This is the proper procedure for this.
and we don't know if it's in the old
Did you guys
section or
discuss
not?
it?
I have not been, I wasn't at the meeting the last
Okay.
time, so.
Okay.
Block 278, wherever that is.
Yeah, it'd be nice to know where it is.
I'm sorry, I saw the numbers too, but I had no way of turning them into a location.
Well, we could table it or postpone it and get that information for the next meeting if that's gonna change your decision.
Whatever, I don't see a problem with the way it is now. I mean,
How about-
If you're gonna make a bigger spot over 3 graves, it is what it is. It's-
How about
I don't know what you're
approving,
blocking. I mean, what
the-
would be the problem with that?
about,
Just, I think.
Well, there's
for
an
grass
ordinance
cutting
that says-
purposes.
you just start,
Yeah,
Right.
you
But
just blow
This,
it.
and there's a reason that we have the ordinance, and we
Yeah.
just redid the whole ordinance and adapted it.
Is it because of the maintenance of it or something?
No, it's because of the, everybody's is supposed to look,
More uniform.
yes,
Right.
there you go.
You can only waive the provision of this if rules or regulations promulgated under this chapter where practical difficulties in carrying out the strict letter of the chapter or any rules or regulations related thereto will present a hardship to a potential person of the public. However, the waiver must not be of such character as it will impair the purposes or the intent of this chapter. I see the same sort of thing, You make the dang rules, you're supposed to follow them. That's what that means. Unless there's a reason why you can't. I can't,
Right.
I'd be willing to consider the 7 inches type thing, but,
I would too. That's reasonable.
yeah.
I think,
I think if he was
Well,
willing to go down to the
You don't want to start a
55.
precedent, everything in the cemetery starts growing.
Yep.
Because you
Think
know,
of all the
right
problems
now,
we've had trying to get people to take all the junk out
Setting a
of
precedent.
cemeteries. Looks pretty good now.
So was that a motion then to say not to exceed 55 inches, Ralph?
I would consider that if, especially, he did mention that as a change from down from his,
I remember
it's
it
not
somewhere, but it's not
57,
in
it's
here.
55, 7 inches more. It's in one of his emails.
Yeah,
not to exceed 55 inches in height.
Whoops. Yeah, it's a, dum-dum-dum-dum.
It's right here on this third
I'll
page.
find it.
fourth
I had it
page.
marked down, it was before.
Oh, here it is.
Okay, yeah, it's right at the top there, okay. Which page is that?
Okay.
Page 2?
Page 2 of the
Emails.
Yeah, he
emails.
said,
He says, could we go to 5 feet? The guy
55
who's
inches.
petitioning said, could we go to 55?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a nice monument, and he's not trying to make nothing messy. I would go along with that, in the interest of,
so you're making a motion for that then, Ralph?
why not?
All right, thank you. There's been a motion made to allow a variance of up to 55 inches for the headstones. Is there support for this?
Support.
Mr. Ritchley, thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. New business 3 technically, right? FEMA resolution of support amended. Draft revision of the resolution of the board tree supporting the application for hazardous mitigation grant. Yeah, this is for our pump station, I believe. Yes, it is. Got to do a language change, difference in price estimations at the beginning of the process submitted by PCE and what was eventually submitted by EW. Imagine that.
I was gonna say, seems like a trend.
Yeah. Resolution 07-2024-A is the resolution of the Township, East China Township Board supporting an application for hazardous mitigation grant for the Bell River Pump Station upgrade. It's amending the requested amount for the grant of $294 awarded. Township match is 25%, and that's still within our budget, I believe, of what we had budgeted originally for that.
On the last
Is that correct?
page, there's just some weird date things. It says regular meeting on June 17th, September 24th. That would
And
need
that's
correction.
She's gonna, yeah, that'll be fixed
Yeah.
anyway.
What you get for using old resolutions.
So I make a motion, we amend the resolution to include the price change as noted.
I'll support that.
Any
You
other
get that
comments or
pump station
questions?
fixed, as long as though we're gonna pay some of it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
We're gonna fix the pump station.
New
Might as well
business.
Get whatever we get for it.
4 technically is 2025 water rate resolution. We met, I don't know when it was, a couple weeks ago. Our
This one
town,
also has some dates too. So 23, should say October 24th.
that's when they become effective, yes. Is that what you're saying?
No, here it says 23, that
No.
should be 24, and then
Right.
also on the last page, it says September 16th, 24, it should be instead of, for the meeting of the date, the very last page, so.
It says instead of 20, you should say 24. Right. Why don't you were in this meeting and you came up with the numbers. Why don't you cover this? If you don't mind, please.
About, how we came
Yeah,
about it.
right. Charts are up here. I think,
Yeah. Well, they proposed a 15% across the board for the next 5 years, and we originally anticipated, I believe it was a 5%,
that's correct.
and
After the first
yeah,
year. 5% after the first year.
Right.
There was a little bit more than that.
so we were trying to lower that cost a bit for the homeowners at the beginning, but allowing it to even off while still keeping a minimum balance in there for contingencies. A fund balance, and it's still a pretty low fund balance.
Yeah, and like 29, it was getting down to like $20,000.
Yeah.
But we thought we could react to that maybe in the future here with rates to prevent that from being a problem.
You know, as long as the cash line didn't drop below 0 at any time, I don't think the township is not gonna have a problem. If it drops below 0, then you really need to get serious, but what you'd like your cash balance to stay up a little bit, but it fluctuates as things happen. As you can see, there's the line I can hardly see, it's the solid black line that kind of waves through that. Shows you where your cash balance is at the end of each year.
This
As long as it doesn't dip below 0, we're okay.
Right. Well, yeah,
Now, it'd be nice to start building some up a little bit, but not,
well, we looked at a lot of scenarios, so now this is the one of them, but again, I was just happy that it's below the cost of inflation for the last year. You know, I mean, we're less than what inflation is.
Right.
And so we're kind of absorbing a lot of that. Mr. Ritchley was at the meeting too a little bit, was taking some notes. Did you have any comments on this at all?
Yeah, I'm probably not gonna make some people happy.
Well,
but
I mean-
I personally am not gonna be voting in favor, but Ralph kind of calmed me down earlier today because I had a whole thing written. I was gonna read. I'm not gonna read it now, but no. But part of it, I think part of what we're planning for isn't even like in the numbers yet. I mean, some of the increased healthcare costs, I'm not gonna relitigate and stuff, but I mean, that's not in there yet because we didn't amend the budget with that. And I just think there's a lot of issues that probably are gonna hit next year that we're gonna, because last year we were projecting like 5% this year, and then obviously it jumped up to 15, and then there's just a lot of different things.
Yeah,
that-
Yeah.
just costs are, of chemicals and everything just haven't stabilized yet.
No.
But I do have a question though. Can we get a copy of that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think we couldn't get it in color. We were gonna make a
We
copy of
don't have
it.
a large scale. I mean,
Okay.
I can email it to you.
Okay, that would be
and
awesome. What, is there like a spreadsheet? Like
There's a-
with the details?
5 spreadsheets per tab, so we're talking maybe 30 spreadsheets. If you, I don't know how
I would
you
like
want to see all of them.
Yes, please.
Um,
Like the, I believe there was contracted services, which is the sewer and water authority, I think, and then other stuff too.
Yeah, the
I can't, I have the notes with me.
the big blue chunk in the middle is what mainly is water and sewer authorities.
We can see what we can pull up on that
That's
computer
the
for that.
principle. That's the principle.
Yeah, so we ended up.
Capital
going down.
improvements, current debt service, contracted services, and then operating expenses.
In the picture, the heavy dark.
Oh, right.
the
I'm
dark
talking
blue
about
line.
breakdown of it though.
Yeah.
The big
dark
cost
blue
is
line
the
all
debt
what
service charge.
Township
Yeah.
pays the sewer water authority.
Right.
Well,
The stuff on
we've
the
been
top
trying
is the,
kind of
Right.
plan for that.
is what, the
Yeah.
big green thing, that's the, talk about
So,
the
so basically, we have a change of,
budget.
instead of 5, we're gonna be 10% water. The sewer rates were 7%, and,
7% wasn't a lot of
that's,
change.
that's holding a very similar line to try not to dip in the next.
The sewer rate wasn't a change, I believe we left that.
It was
alone.
gonna be 5 and we raised
It's
it
gonna
to
be 7%.
And it drops back down to 5.
Um,
I still don't understand why that keeps going up like that.
The only change in the meter replacement program was a $2 additional for the 1.5-inch meter charge, because the meters are more money than we have. But the other 2 are not changing. We need to read this whole thing.
I would just read this top, what you're doing, and then the rate.
Right, Resolution 12-2024 is the adopt the water and sewer rates for October 1st of 2024 effective.
Thinking general at the end, and all we're trying to do.
Again,
is to
water
make sure
rates would be
catch balances and drive
proposed
all
to
these
increase on
all
October
those
1st of '24, 10%, and the sewer at
I
7%.
have to tell you, I'm not
And the
sure.
carryout for the next 2 years, so
Individual
26 and
contributions.
27 would be this, 10% for water,
But every year they have to.
7% for
talk
sewer
about it.
for 26,
This
I'm
is just
sorry.
a projection.
And
Can't
for-
do it.
October 1st, 26 for the, through the 27 years, a 10% increase water and sewer is 5%. Again, those can be adjusted at the water rate committee again next year, but the one that we're deciding on now is 10% for water, 7% for sewer.
Reach the 50%.
Are you making that a motion?
Marine City's looking
Nicole,
at.
do you make that motion?
I will make a motion to,
Those are your numbers, that's why I'm letting you do it.
hey now. Wasn't mine solely. I'll make a motion to adopt the new water and sewer rates under resolution 12-2024 as presented.
Okay, is there support?
Yeah, I'll support it.
Mr. Knotts? Okay. We need roll call.
Just the part I'm really concerned with. is this
Clerk, please
right
call
here.
roll.
You guys are
Roll
gonna
call
be sending
vote,
us
Clerk
a
Smith,
reason-
yes. Treasurer Hart?
Next year's.
Yes.
Trustee Babel?
Yes.
Trustee Blackstock?
Yes.
Trustee Knotts?
Yes.
Trustee Richley?
No.
Supervisor Western?
Yes. Thank you. New business now 5, not 4. Request for training. Water plant operator. We know how this goes. We encourage this. Yeah. Point right land, the fund is to be allocated to that, it's $1,029.71, according to the sheet attached. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve greening for
Mr.
water treatment plant operator Ryan Lamb. Cost
Not to exceed $1,029.71.
Support.
Moved by Mr. Knopf, supported by Mr. Richley. Any other comments? Clerk,
Roll
please
call
the roll.
vote, Clerk Smith, yes, Treasurer Hart?
Yes.
Trustee Babel?
Yes.
Trustee Blackstock?
Yes.
Trustee Knott?
Yes.
Trustee Richley?
Yes.
Supervisor Lestrick?
I got these all out of order, I believe.
I know that, moving that one really through us.
Just make sure I take it in the right
The
order.
minutes are gonna be 20
St. Clair-
pages long.
Okay, this is the St. Clair County Local Road System Funding, it's Assistance Program Resolution 13-2024. This is the same thing we've done every year. I'm working with the Road Commission. They are going to allow us, it's part of our DPW building, plus it's a deteriorating sewer. Record Road sewer down where the water plant's at and our existing DPW. There's an enclosed sewer system there that is dilapidated and part of it's crushed and not even working. We have overflows there. The piping's all got to be changed. They are allowing us, normally it's for paving, but they're allowing us to go ahead with splitting the cost of that storm sewer under this program. You're making a funny face, so let me. What are you thinking?
Well, storm sewers are usually theirs, aren't they?
No.
County?
Okay, we own them all together. We pay for them on the sheriff's program. Every time they just did Stillman on St. Clair Drive down there, we pay for half of it. Anyway, they had a $240,000 bid. It was, well, they verbally said 280. They finally did an estimate on it. It's 240. This is tied to the next item anyway.
Of course.
They're gonna let us either phase it, because I don't want, if we do it all and it's 240, we pay 140, they pay 100. They only go up to 100. They said, no, they'll allow us to just do 200,000 worth next year, so it's 100. So that's what this resolution's for, okay? 100,000 them, 100,000 us for 2025 is gonna be for Record Road sewer.
They're gonna split it. That's what I was trying to look at how much is the thing I got written on here. Where's the, I see $100,000.
That's what I
You
was
don't.
wondering.
You know,
You don't.
I was supposed to give Cindy something to attach to that. I think there's an application that we have and it's,
But this one is just
That's
for the
the
Rico
6,000.
Road one. What is the very
the
next?
application is the same one we fill out every year, but it's gonna be $100,000 us, it's gonna be $100,000 road commission for Record Road sewer
Okay,
replacement.
they're giving us 100, instead of $50,000 match, it's
They're
it's
giving us
100, it's gonna be
Partial.
$100,000 this year.
Yeah.
Partial repair,
Well, I'm
correct?
always happy to use their money.
Yeah, we've done it for the last 4 years now. This will be the 4th year.
Somebody must not be using their money if they're letting us take.
I'll make a motion, we adopt resolution 13-2024, local road system funding assistance and direct the
I'll
township
support.
manager to sign the application that we have filled out.
I support that. This is
And
a
supported by Mr. Knopf.
$200,000
Do we need a roll call?
job. 50/50.
Yeah,
Do a
Kirsten,
roll call.
I-
Roll call vote, Clerk Smith, yes, Treasurer Hart?
Yes.
Trustee Babel?
Yes.
Trustee Blackstock?
Yes.
Trustee Knott?
Yes.
Trustee Richley?
Yes.
Supervisor Lestrick?
Yes.
Always vote for stuff.
Okay, this,
A lot of everybody else's money.
kind of argued with the road commission on this one. This is actually the design of that particular storm sewer. I thought it should have been covered under that last program, but nevertheless, we have to authorize this. If we don't do the work within 3 years, we gotta pay the bill. If we do, they don't charge us the $6,000. So, then that's.
Say that again, please.
It's $6,000 to design this thing, engineering.
Yep.
If we go ahead and do the work within 3 years, they don't charge us design, which is the case here.
Okay.
I thought this was approved back in March. It's signed, but we can't find it in the minutes, so
So
we want them to go ahead and do the actual engineered.
But you don't come
work
up
for
with
this.
any money, do you?
Well, we paid $6,000 if we decide we're not gonna do it, but we're gonna do it. We just did that.
If
in
we
the
pay
last
them
one.
$6,000, they give it back in
They
case.
don't charge us at all then. We don't pay it. They just don't bill us if we don't.
They don't bill us. Okay, I will say, who gets the $6,000? Okay. So we are
I
planning
just,
on
we need
getting,
an authorization for the,
you mean
I think
event-
it's,
we've been working
supervisor
on
and the
this,
clerk have to sign this.
Right.
DPW building for some time. Do we think maybe you're gonna get it done in the next 3 years?
Ralph, let's handle this one at a time tonight, huh?
Might be out of money by then.
Yeah, this is,
spending like water
this is
tonight.
actually something that just has to be done, but it is also to prevent us from putting a detention pond in for the DPW building, but.
Yeah, they won't let you do the.
Well, this one, we're
What
not
did you just
spending
say?
anything.
So we don't have to put a detention pond in?
So we don't have to put a detention pond in, but now,
By doing
now
that?
they're saying that they just want this work done, and they're gonna start making us pay for it, so. Hey,
Okay.
they'll pay for half and let us use local funds.
I'll make a motion to approve this work order, record road, work order storm drain for 6,000, not to exceed 6,000.
They gotta be able to dump on the storm sewer, and storm sewer, they don't feel
I'll
it's
support it.
sufficiently large enough to handle
Do we need it?
additional
We're
load.
not really even spending it. All in favor, say
Well,
aye.
we are, no, we're saying 6,000,
If we don't go,
Contingent,
yeah.
contingent.
I don't know why they even do it that way, but they do.
Yeah.
All right, roll call vote, Clerk Smith, yes, Treasurer Hart?
Yes.
Trustee Babel?
Yes.
Trustee Blackstock?
Yes.
Trustee Nats?
Yes.
Trustee Richley?
Yes.
Supervisor Westrick?
Yeah, we can, they're gonna be.
We're losing interest here really quick.
Something like that.
Meeting.
Yeah,
Now we should be on, right? New business 8 is new business 8.
County's got this.
Is that right?
Yes, it is. And I was getting confused by it, because I'm like ready to change the number.
It's been talked about for a while. We have a window, there's actually a spot that has a lintel already in place over there on the building over there. So it's gonna be easier just to put the one window back in place on that. And the cheapest bid on that was Mount Clemens Glass. Dwayne had received these bids. It was $3,227. They did not have it budgeted in the parks fund budget, so we're gonna use it under the capital outlay.
Man, that's an expensive window.
Yeah, is it?
It's
just
at the
one?
park building over here, you know, that's got the bathrooms and everything in it, and the office
okay.
and the little storage garage. They're putting a window in it, so it has some, it's not a dungeon.
is this who did the windows here at the Township Hall?
Yeah. Yep.
I'm gonna make a comment. Because our windows were leaking,
They're horrible.
leaking bad in my office after these were installed.
Yeah.
And
These
so-
windows?
Yes.
Yes.
It wasn't the window, it was the flashing up above. Remember, we had to have them come back and put all the metal flashings
There
on?
was like
It
air
should be
blowing
all
through.
included to do the installation properly in not,
It is. Well, that was above all of these,
Piecemeal.
they have a flashing they had to come and put on. The brick corbels out at the top,
yeah.
like 6 feet above. That's just left open and there was nothing
Yeah, I
sealed there
was
back
like
in the
getting a
day.
breeze.
Not even close to the
through.
window, so it was.
There was a breeze, actually.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Oh, not,
Um,
okay.
what is the size of this window? Why is it so much? I just,
They gotta cut the block
Yeah,
out
I was
and
gonna
put
say
the
that.
window in.
Up the main
Yeah, it's a
scenario.
block building there.
Okay,
No
so-
window there at the present time.
that's the total cost,
The
not the cost of
construction
just the
was
window.
required before.
Right, that's all the construction to put it
Like I
in.
said, I put my whole house with
Those
windows
bids
and
are
it
on
cost me
here, too.
$4,000. But all they did was pull the frames out, stick them in, that's it.
Yeah.
They didn't
So,
even charge me. installation. It was
3227,
all buried in the cost of the windows.
I make a motion, we pay Mount Clemens Glass to put that window in out of our capital improvements. 3227.
We need a support.
For support,
So moved.
Mr. Blackstock, clerk, please call the roll.
Roll call vote, Clerk Smith, yes. Treasurer Hart?
Yes.
Trustee Babel?
Yes.
Trustee Blackstock?
Yes.
Trustee Nats?
Yes.
Trustee Richley?
Yes.
Supervisor Westrick?
Yes. Okay, here's another fun one.
Oh, God.
Originally, when we had the DPW building designed, we talked about a possible, I don't know what we call it, activities room, whatever, to the one side, you know, future. That's been abandoned. The layout of the offices and the bathrooms made no sense whatsoever then, to keep them that way, because we're not gonna service that. We actually had like 2 locker rooms, 6 bathrooms laid out there.
Yeah.
It was a waste of thing. Well, Dwayne and I and Lane got together and we came up with a layout that would work, and the new DPS office will be over there as well. They finished the layout, but they have to change the plans, well, the architectural plans are pretty much changed to reflect this, but they have to have the plumbing, the electrical, and the HVAC plans redone. And we had a price sent to us from PCE to do that.
Why do I feel like I'm PCE's money bag?
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say, there's
First of
nobody
all-
else that can do this.
First of all, the contract administration, construction layout, and site visit inspections, that was all included in the original quote. So you can cross those off your list right now. All right?
What? Cross what off?
The last two
Contract
items.
administration, construction layout, and site visit. Furthermore, and I was digging for that tonight, I didn't give myself enough time, but I couldn't find it. These figures exceed what they were originally paid to design the whole thing. To be honest with you, I want to table it. I want to postpone it. I want to go back to PEC and talk to them about this because I'm not paying that.
Support.
Let's just make that just clear right now.
And do we really need them to oversee a building project?
We're not doing
We
that.
building inspectors that we pay
Right.
Well, we
to
talked about
do this, why are we paying them?
Well, we're gonna, if we send this out for general contractor bids, someone's gonna have to watch the project. I think our DPS person can do that. And our
Well-
building inspector,
Our building inspector is,
Right.
so.
I mean, it's be like a normal person building a pole barn out there. I mean, why?
Well,
we
I
pay
want
these-
more of an inspection on, hands-on when there's other things going on, and Dwayne said he could do that, so.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't need that, but furthermore, you're talking $20-some thousand for these revisions is,
Crazy.
it's more than we paid them to originally do the plans.
Yeah.
And they've been on vacation, I haven't been able to reach them. I want to table this. I know it just pushes this project back another 3 weeks, but
I just have
I'm
one
not paying it.
question.
I have a question.
unless you want to give me the not to exceed number, and I can work with that, but I don't.
I don't think they shouldn't have to be
No.
involved in overseeing the whole building project.
No.
They were hired to design the project.
Yeah. They,
We have
No,
other
they
people
weren't-
in
they weren't
place
just-
that
they
we
weren't-
already paid.
They weren't deciding
to
to
do
do
all
it
these
twice.
things.
They'll
we have to pay them something to redesign these drawings, because they were
When
done.
you do a
civil
redesign, it's not
drawings.
free.
But,
I have a question. I got a little picture on with this. I thought we were doing a DPW, but I don't see a single place in there you're gonna put a truck.
Yeah, I thought there was like,
this is just the office layout, the rest of the building's not, we did not change that.
with the bays.
This is just
Okay.
the office layout.
Question, how many people are going to be in this office too?
Well,
Potentially
DPW
three?
supervisor and the director of public services will be there, and then, we have
Parks.
currently 3.
Right? Is she
It
going to
hasn't
be
been
in-
decided yet, I don't think so. There's 2 offices for that, and then the DPW workers, 3 workers right now.
Not including the DPW supervisor?
Yeah, he's gonna be there.
Or, I mean, is the 3 including him or no?
In here? Yes.
I'm sorry, you said there's 3 DPW employees. Is that including the DPW supervisor or no?
The DPW supervisor, director of public service, and 3 DPW employees work
Okay,
out of this
I
building.
gotcha,
5
I gotcha.
total. Does that
Okay.
answer your question?
Well, you
Yeah,
finally
yeah,
got
thank
that guy back.
Let me recommend this instead of tabling it if you want. Give me a not to exceed number, and I'll go at them with that. Because I really don't want to lose another 3 weeks. But I think it's worth maybe no more than $12,000 to change all these changes.
What is,
Mr. Blackstock?
a couple of agenda items back, we just paid for engineering for a storm, and you made a comment about not having to put retention in.
Right.
This letter's got redesigning for retention. Are we not putting
What does that say?
retention?
Right here, site plan to include stormwater detention.
Yeah.
As requested, we'll also modify the site plan to include stormwater
Yeah,
detention.
he's not doing that.
Yeah,
These
so-
are, we gotta do the architectural, mechanical, and electrical drawings for the office only have to be redone. Everything else is done. The site plan's done. That's why I'm saying that there should be no civil drainage revisions there.
Do you have a number in mind?
12,000 for everything.
I'll make a motion that we revise this
For redesign?
that the
Redesign the
supervisor
plans no more than
have the
12,000.
supervisor discuss this with the engineer for a cost not to exceed $12,000.
That's, at least gives me something to try and work with. Mr. Knott's made a motion, is there support?
I support.
Gable? Clerk, please call the roll.
Can I ask one quick question?
Yes, you
How
sure
much
can.
did we pay them already for the design?
I was looking for that, and I couldn't find it tonight. That's what I was digging for. But I want to say around 30,000.
So we're gonna pay him $42,000 to design a pole barn?
Well, it's just, well, no, but it's not. This is, he has mechanical, plumbing, and electrical are separate engineers that are working for him to draw this. And actually, the architectural engineer is some outside source too, that he's got to pay to do this. So, we have an option, and I sure don't want to do it, but it's to build the building as is and change it in the field. And that's just creates a lot of problems. You know, use the plans that we have, but the office layout's so far off, I really don't want to do that. So, anyway, we have to change it to at least make it get close.
How did we get so far away from the word, like,
Yeah,
how did we
Like I
get
said,
there?
the original layout was for possibly serving a room on the other side. And quite honestly, it was sent to someone to look at and look over a few times and never got done. And it evolved, and when I saw it, it's like, this isn't like getting close to being working for them. So I sent over a revision on the floor plan, and then they fine-tuned it with some other people, but
I mean, where do we stop?
I know.
yeah. Wow.
I mean-
We gotta have that redrawn so we at least get something built that we need, that we can use, but I'm not paying them $25,000 more.
I just feel like we're bleeding this project and we haven't even started. We don't even have a good
Yeah.
plan yet. We just keep.
We have a plan, but the layout for the office is not what we want.
Right, and then, like I asked about
When you-
the park manager
you
being
gave-
over there, cause
you
that
gave
was
him an
decided
opening when
way
you-
back when too, but now
To
that's.
redesign it.
Well, we're
If he's
redoing her
happy to
office already.
I
We're already
know.
spending that money, so there's
She's supposed to stay over there. I
no
believe.
point
Never
at
heard
that.
Yeah.
I guess I mean, I'm in favor of building a DPW building, but we need to,
Rein it in a little bit.
yeah, it's like more, and we're not even there. I mean, we're not even close to anything. And I'm not in favor of PCE overseeing this project and paying them all these engineering
gonna do that.
fees and inspection fees.
Yeah.
And when we have people,
That can do
building
it.
inspectors that we pay, and they're qualified to do those things.
They're not gonna do any inspection on that. Once the plans are done, other than the liability for the plans, they're done.
Okay.
Yeah, we never plan on them doing anything.
So the amount that we have spent so far is strictly for plans only.
The engineering. The only thing we'll have to have them do is possibly plot the layout of the building, but that's it. Or some surveyor of your choice, I don't really care who. So, that's,
That's pretty standard,
Yeah.
$1,200, I don't know what it would be, but not much.
right?
But other than that, we won't need their services for overseeing this building. That was never intended.
All right, so we have a motion and a support. Roll call vote. This is for the redesign plan not to exceed 12,000
Correct.
only. Clerk Smith, yes. Treasurer Hart?
Yes.
Trustee Babel?
Yep.
Trustee Blackstock?
Yes.
Trustee Knotts?
Yes.
Trustee Richley?
No.
Okay, we got, new business 10. Ms. Hart?
This was just brought up several times in the past at meetings. I guess it's never been an official item. it kind of came up when we decided on the healthcare and we were talking about the parks manager job description and how she was getting the bonus, and it was decided to be a one-time thing is what we had voted on in January. And then it was up for clarification, and I finally got the two job descriptions. The one that was number one is what was in our packet in January that we voted on, where it said may qualify. And again, she was given this bonus in lieu of the vacation time that the Parks Commission had promised her that we, I guess, were unable to give her, so it was supposed to be in place of that. And then when I asked for, was this signed, because we did pay her the bonus, number 2 is what I got, the version from our township manager, where the benefits item was changed. It doesn't say may qualify, it says retention bonus is based on years of service and details attached. And if you look at that, it says the annual bonus, which is what I had brought up at the other meetings when we were trying to get this clarified.
That's what the first one says too.
Yeah, but it says may get it, this one,
Okay.
So I'm just trying to clarify for the record, I don't know why this got changed when we voted on the first version, number 1, but it was meant to be a one-time thing, and I'm just trying to clarify that this is indeed a one-time thing, and
Which
not
I
to-
did read into the minutes a couple of meetings ago. I clarified that in the minutes.
Well, when I asked for this and I asked the township manager, she said it is reviewed annually. And I
It's
said that,
reviewed annually, and the board will vote on it
Yeah, they
annually
they
as
have to vote
well.
on it.
And that's what we put in the minutes, so it was.
It isn't, I don't understand the one-time business, that this is written, both of them are written, that it's, one-time, yeah, but it's yearly. It's annual, it's an annual bonus.
that's not how it was presented, because it was presented
Both of them.
in lieu of the vacation time that she was promised.
Okay, so what are your wishes? What do you want to read? What do you want it to say?
I just wanted that it was a one-time thing and it shouldn't be in here
So you want
every
to
year.
remove the
No.
retention bonus clause in the job description for the park manager?
Yeah,
Is that a motion?
yes, I'll make a motion for that.
Is there support?
Wait, do what? I'm sorry?
We're going to amend the job description for the park manager to delete the line benefits may qualify for retention bonus. And the page attached, if there is such.
No,
What-
no.
Under benefits, we're doing what?
Copy 2?
Removing the retention bonus.
Okay. And then the attachment on the back end is gonna be gone.
Correct.
Right.
There's been a motion, is there support?
I'll support that.
All those in favor say aye.
I want discussion, please.
Aye.
Well, first of all, I'm not in favor of completely wiping out the bonus. She's supposed to get it reviewed each year. That's what it says in here. The may in this thing pertained to the fact that she didn't even get considered unless she had a certain number of hours. And it was written in here that she has to have a minimum 1,248 hours before she is considered for the retention bonus. And in this particular one, number 2, that particular year, she only had $1,818 in hours and 25 a quarter hours. So she could not be considered for a bonus because she didn't make the requirement for the amount of hours. And I think that's where the may comes in. The may comes in, it's only if she works a certain number of hours is she qualified to be considered for a retention bonus. And if she meets the qualification, I guess the township manager would, just like she does on all these guys for travel, we would present the board, say, look, this one meets the requirement for retention bonus, and the board has to vote on whether or not she gets paid it. On this particular case, number 2 would never be presented because she didn't qualify.
Correct.
So frankly, I don't understand the problem. When I read these two, is the fact that they took the may out and then put it here in the back of what they do. In this one, they took the may out and said see details, and the details in the back say the same thing. So they're
But it
written
does say
different
an
ways.
annual. Yeah,
They both say annual, both of them say annual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I hear you saying something about it was only considered to be a one-time bonus. I don't remember that at all, but of course, that may
the
be a
3 of
miss.
us were in other meetings.
That might be a
before-
meeting I wasn't there,
yeah.
but this
It
is
was a
written,
committee.
this is
Yeah.
written, if these things were passed by either one of them was passed by the board, it's an annual bonus considered, but she gets paid only if she reaches a certain threshold of hours in the year, and I guess it even says if, what the start dates are. In this case, 31 May, but.
Okay. Are there any
I
other
don't know what
comments
the
or
problem
questions?
is. I don't know what the problem is.
I actually
The
have a
problem is
question.
it was a one-time thing. No.
You keep saying that, where it doesn't say that, it says annual.
That's what it was proposed as back in January and in our meetings.
Has this ever been approved by the board?
Mr.
Either one
Ridgely?
of these?
Number 1 was.
Yeah.
It says annual then, come on.
The question I have, so on this one, the very last page, so obviously that's the township manager's initials, but the writing here, is that from you? The writing that says gave to employee for signature?
No, that's Cindy's writing.
The one with the ever signed?
That's a good
Yep.
question.
That wasn't you?
Oh, I wrote, was this ever signed?
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
But
Was
she
it ever
wrote,
signed?
gave to Deanna. I don't know.
What's the question?
was this ever signed?
Did Deanna sign the thing?
So that is a document that's in the personnel file, just referencing that particular annual bonus that was given. It was presented to the employee to review, making sure the dates were right, that they agreed that this is their hours that they worked. And then it was presented, and it wasn't signed, but doesn't change it. She
But we
wasn't
paid it
signing
to
a
her anyway.
contract. It was acknowledging the presence of this
Well,
document
the
that has
motion
all of these
made
details on it.
To pay her that money, so that's why she
Yeah.
was paid that.
Yep.
Interesting.
Does that answer your question?
I have a
Mr.
lot of documents that employees don't sign, and I have to make a note, didn't sign, but we're acknowledging it.
Is there any other employee that has not signed their job description? In the township?
All of them.
None of
They're
them?
all collective bargaining.
Okay.
They don't have the
Is that-
requirement to sign.
I mean, we're talking about 23 years or something like that, so we're now in the
$540 last year.
How much, 540?
$540.
So if we're
That
talking
correct?
is anybody
I believe
not,
so.
what? So it's just, if we want to approve this, is it going to pay her an annual based on the fact if she works a certain number of hours? That we would then be notified as to whether or not we want to pay it? What are we fighting about? It's $540. I mean, is she doing a bad job? No, she's doing a great job.
Yeah, I thought we took care of this at a couple meetings, like the clerk said in the minutes.
Well,
but-
this was only created in lieu of that vacation money that the Parks Commission promised.
Correct.
That's the only reason it was ever created.
It looks like, and that may or may not be true, but it appears that what we approved in January had that clause in it, and so we're addressing that right now.
Yeah, which was not the understanding.
The only thing that I'll say, because I voted for this originally, and that was before that we provided health insurance. Before that, I voted for this after providing health insurance, which is way more than $540. But anyway, that's my thought on it.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have any comments or questions on this? Clerk, please call the roll.
What are we voting on first before?
To modify the job description to eliminate that retention bonus.
I don't think you should. I think she's doing a good job. We ought to be getting her bonus.
Okay, we have a roll call vote. Hold on here. This is for number 10, NB 10.
Whiteness or off? She does a good job.
Smith, no. Treasurer Hart,
Yes.
trustee Bebo,
No.
trustee Blackstock,
No.
trustee Dance,
No.
trustee Richley,
Yes.
supervisor Wester.
No. Motion denied. Okay, I think that's it for new business.
This is an FYI,
I like
didn't
this.
make it, if you could take one head.
I like this bit where it says you have to work a certain number of hours. Take one and pass it down.
It's gonna be,
Take one, pass it
the
down.
one that was adopted in January is going to be the official document, okay?
Copy two.
Yeah, what they call it. Adopted 1/15/2024.
And the schedule can be attached to that.
Yes.
That was your number
Yes.
2.
And attach the schedule.
Fighting.
I don't know.
Service thing.
You're right. I know we're fighting at $700.
You guys all got one?
Just an FYI, it didn't make it in the packet.
Yeah, you guys have a letter
More than that.
Yes,
in front of you from a resident on Chamberlain?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Public services guy.
Mr. Not?
Sorry, I'm sorry.
You guys have a letter attached that we received here from some residents on Chamberlain.
Ah,
I actually met with the contractor down there and our inspector, and I, in no short words, told them they need to clean that mess up. They have stone, sand, and everything piled at the end of that cul-de-sac. No soil erosion measures in place or anything else, so they've been instructed as of 2 days ago to wind that down and get it out of there. I don't know if they were granted permission, there's not enough people in town to tell me if they were actually granted permission to use that, but regardless if they were, they should have at least put soil erosion measures up for piles of material and whatnot, and so I want to pass that along. I don't have a phone number here to call these people, but if they're watching, they've been instructed to clean up that stuff now. Anybody else have any comments?
I have a question about that though. What's the timeline on, like within a week, they should have it cleaned up hopefully?
2 weeks. I gave them till the end of the month.
Okay, so what's gonna be left there?
Nothing.
Nothing, okay. Okay, good.
that's
They
good.
have a yard right down here.
Yeah, cause I took a ride down there, it's
I
bad.
can't tell you exactly who authorized them to do it, if anybody, because nobody's in town from the engineer right now and everything else, but
Right,
regardless, they've been given notice to clean it up.
okay.
Our director, I think, told them something different, but I'm overriding that. There's no reason to be on a brand-new paved road to be parking all their equipment there, and I see it's there tonight too, it's another reason I'm in a great mood anyway. Anybody else have any comments, announcements, anything, seriously?
What's this thing? It's just, this FYI.
Just a FYI.
The email from, did you get that email from Sean Lumley on, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but on Walnut?
Yeah.
Are we? 'Cause-
They're not done with it, they have to come back and seed and mulch it, because
Okay,
it's too hot to seed right now. They're
Yeah,
wasting their
yeah.
money.
okay, cause he's not the
Our
only one. I
director's
heard
been
from.
in touch with them, but I know he's on vacation right now, and I asked, like, to
Okay.
get one.
Okay.
Yeah, they're topsoil, but they're not seeding and mulching yet, because the 89-degree days just don't cut it yet, you know, it's unusual for September, but generally September you can start seeding, but as soon as that weather cuts a little bit,
Yeah,
they'll get the seed done.
okay,
You know, Mr. Sean is well known in the area.
Right now, the seed will sprout and die.
oh,
It-
well, right,
So,
Bet you if I don't even
it's not
know the
working.
new road.
And
But they've
then-
been working on everything else and trying to get everything wrapped up out there. Again, the main inspector's out of town yet, but I'm supposed to have this stuff wrapped up here by the end of the week on a lot of it.
Okay. And the only other thing,
At least it's slowed to a dull roar on the complaints.
okay. The only other thing, do we have a timeline on when we're gonna do an evaluation of the township
I was
manager?
gonna call you on that, but, I did some reviews with some people, so we're putting that together here.
Okay, cause I have a bunch of stuff that I
Is
put
that the stuff
together.
you emailed me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have all that.
Okay, okay.
Yep.
If anybody else wants a copy, I have,
Yeah, well, we're gonna come up with one. So
what's that?
We'll come up with one.
Like
set
in
one.
October?
Depends on how quick I can get it done. But, yeah, I hope so.
Like the first meeting in October or second?
No, second
Second
meeting
meeting,
possibly.
okay.
We'll only try and get that detailed up. Do it by the end of the year, though.
Okay.
Anything else?
I have a couple things.
You good?
I'm good.
All right.
Yeah, I got something coming to my attention the other day. You know,
Sorry, Doug.
we hired a director of public services, I guess is what Dwayne's called. I was quite surprised the other day when I found out, you know, he don't direct nothing. He is listed on the thing, and he is an advisor to the township manager. I thought he would, at the minimum, the two plant managers and the DPW guy would be working for Dwayne, and Dwayne would be working for the township manager. I mean, if he's gonna be directing them, he's gotta have some kind of authority to tell them to do something and take them down if they don't do it right. We're paying, for his talent, we're paying him quite a bit of money. I feel he should be directing somebody. And I don't know what you want to do about that, Mr. Supervisor, but I want to bring it up.
Well, I believe they work hand in hand with the supervisors to get things accomplished. As far as when it gets down to the actual human resources part of it is when it doesn't have the director as the person.
Well, you can, all right. Yeah, authority can be handed down. Responsibility can't be changed, true. But he can, never mind. I still think that if he's going to be director of public services, he ought to have authority to direct them.
He was hired as another layer.
We're paying a pretty good amount of money just to be an
interpretation.
advisor.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
I have nothing else.
cool.
All set.
You still signing checks?
Yeah?
Got one in there?
No, unfortunately.
Sandy?
No, they killed.
Sorry.
Yes, I've been asking around for different things that, our residents would like to see. Are we ever going to have another dumpster for like toxic paints and different things like that, or large items that the garbage won't pick up? We used to have that way back.
I don't
Like a
know if
cleanup
that's
day?
part of our, I don't know if that's part of
Yeah.
our contract with Ontario
It's
or not.
not.
It's
not.
It's to be an additional
Be
thing.
additional?
They'll take large items. They'll take large items.
It's kind of like a
Yes.
public
Sometimes they will.
service
Never had an
thing.
issue.
Yeah, really?
I mean,
Having
Well,
stuff's different.
I mean, if
Yeah.
We just had one in Cotterville for tires, and it came through Eagle, and there was a grant, so.
We have a tire dumpster.
Yeah.
Oh,
So there is stuff.
We worked
around
with
for
China
that.
Township on that. I don't know where how that, I think they had it available for Arbor Day or something, but
That was another thing too about the tire
yeah, we had a
trailer
dumpster for
dumpster.
that.
We do?
I don't know if the hall gets much of a call about that or not. We can maybe find out, but I don't know if they get much people asking about that or not. We can check into it, and if we need to do something, maybe we can come up with something.
Okay.
I bel- oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Adding on to that, I believe Ontario has something in place where you can bring your paint to them. I don't know if it's by appointment, but I feel like I called them about that before personally. And there's something that they have in place, but you'd have to take it to their site.
Yeah, they have-
This
They won't
also-
do that anymore. They'll tell you to go to the Smiths Creek landfill, and then the township will get charged because it's a resident.
I don't think they charge for it at the landfill. Don't quote me on that, but I know that
For, like,
that's
oil
what I
and
was gonna say.
paint
You can
and-
take your paint to the landfill if you're a resident of the county.
Or you can hide it in the middle.
They got a little cabinet, you gotta put it in and everything else, and they just take it and dump it in the landfill. But anyway.
Say that.
But anyway, it's
Oils
disposed
and
of properly, it's
Yeah.
well. But I don't think they
That's not
charge for that if you're a
official
resident of the county. But I could be wrong, but I don't think so. If you're individual, if you're a business, they do charge you.
It might
And
be
you know,
something
Because I
AutoZone
turned into
takes
an
oil.
individual real quick.
batteries.
AutoZone will take
Yep.
batteries and oil.
Yeah, batteries are
Oh,
worth
they
$10.
Yeah.
Okay. That was kind of another thing. I'm gonna ask about a recycling bin, maybe at Township Hall, for batteries. I mean, the size AA, the little batteries, not car batteries or whatever. Some townships have it, or it's hard to get rid of your batteries.
Staples you can
It's on the
get,
trash
they have
I'm sorry, I just thought
I've been there and they told me no.
Clay
They don't do
Township.
it.
Clay
oh, it's right on their
Township.
website, and you actually get rewards points for it.
No comment.
Yep,
Clay Township has one by the high school.
They do?
I'm pretty sure they do. They have a large recycling bin with multiple
yeah.
things.
Who hasn't?
I think it's Clay Township. They did. Over by the high
It's
school.
interesting. I never even thought about that.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
could check with
Staples
some of the
will
other
give you
towns. Do you have one,
rewards.
Cockville?
No, we take ours to Staples because they have a rewards program for them.
Oh,
Just like cartridges, ink cartridges. They'll actually take like old monitors, keyboards, anything technical,
well,
TVs.
these ideas are good though, because we are gonna be going out for bids here in another couple of months for next year's contract that's coming up. And, we can ask about some of those things to be included within the contract if you want.
Yeah.
You know, we have a,
Or if there's any options.
Yeah, that's something else we gotta get working on. Mr. Blackstock?
Yep.
You good, Deputy, anything else?
Mechanical
Go with that,
That's all right. I'm gonna talk about this later.
What's that, Cindy?
I do have one more thing.
Okay.
We had the township picnic on Saturday. We had a great turnout. It was a beautiful day. Great food, music. And I want to mention one other thing. Our newsletter that went out, I compiled all the information from everyone, and Cindy put it together, took the time to put it all together and added the pictures, and it came out great.
It did.
I loved the format. I thought it was much more enjoyable reading and engaging than the past. I thought our old ones were kind of, we didn't have pictures in color, so
Yes, it did come out.
Back in the day.
we had to, unfortunately, the printer that I had didn't have the manpower to fold them or tab them,
I saw manpower taking care of the folding.
which we had, I actually had a couple of our election inspectors come in and paid them, and it was a big process. So that was something that, unfortunately, we have a folder that does our tax bills, but because it was a 2-page, it would not handle it, so we had to manually fold all those in. So we'll be looking at some other options, hopefully, at the next time, but, yeah. It was probably about 1,000 in postage, that was the most expense, and another probably 500-600 for the printing. So overall,
Yeah, I
yeah, we really liked it.
I heard a few people talking about it.
That's
so I
first
thought
time
it
I've
was a
seen
good
one for a
thing.
while.
but I wanted to thank Cindy for her
That was very
time
good.
in
Thank you.
formatting
Thank you to
everything
the
and putting
manager.
it together, making it look great.
Okay.
Yeah, my wife really liked that letter. That was very well
Yeah,
done.
I had a lot of
It was very
comments
well
from
done
people on
and
it,
very
so I think it was
informative.
something
Good,
we can
good.
continue. So I nominate you to do it again someday. Anything else, anyone? If not,
Make a motion to adjourn.
is there support?
Sport.
Support.
Mr. Richley, Mr. Knotts, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you, we're adjourned.